Welcome to this episode of the Founders Fireside Podcast. Today, I'm here with Cam Saylor, founder of Neptune and a real estate developer, house flipper, etc. Cam, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Jasper.
Of course. So you're working on a lot of interesting projects. The new version of the IU Innovates has a little bit about it. So number one, you're restructuring a commercial real estate firm.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, Neptune, a property management software, property tech software. Number three, you develop raw land and flip houses. And number four, you're helping to relaunch a wealth management company that provides access to private placement real estate deals.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want to start out of those four?
I think chronologically, starting with real estate makes sense. So I started flipping houses. I got my first house with two business partners very beginning of my junior year, and that sort of launched me into real estate. We flipped that first one, and I fell in love with it. So ever since then, I've flipped. I've done 8 or 10 houses now, continuing to buy and flip them. My process has definitely changed, but it's been fun. And then that sort of evolved into meeting people in other spaces like commercial real estate and working with them for the land development and the commercial medical office retail centers. So I'm learning a ton about that stuff, and every day I'm doing real estate stuff for the most part.
Sweet. Okay, so tell me about that first flip. Mm-hmm. And you said your processes have changed along the way, and now you've done like 8 or 10 houses.
Yep.
So what did you not realize while doing that first flip, and how did your processes adapt?
So with that first flip, we ended up getting what's called a hard money loan, which is basically a 6-month mortgage with no payments. So you have a down payment like when you normally buy a house, and you have 6 months to sell it, and then when that 6-month timer hits, you're basically all the money's due. We did that because we didn't have all the cash to do it, which is how I sort of do it now. Is we try to do everything cash, so we avoid like those fees. Like the interest rate on that loan is probably 14-15%, which is crazy. So that's changed. That first house, I also did everything myself, from the flooring to the electrical to the plumbing to painting.
Yourself?
Yep.
You were actually working on it yourself, and you did plumbing and electrical.
Yep.
That's impressive.
My dad was a commercial electrician when I was growing up, when I was younger, and when something broke in the house, we fixed it. So we were looking at pictures the other day, and there's a picture of me taking apart our washing machine because it was broken when I was like 10, and we were fixing it. Dishwasher broke, we fixed it. We wanted to build a shed in the backyard, we built it ourselves. So that really helped me just learn how to do things and figure things out. He was a big part of teaching me, how to work with my hands, how to fix things, which was really cool. I enjoy it. But now with everything going on, I'm sort of shifting to using subcontractors and people that work for me to do the work. I sort of had a rude awakening when I had a flip and I had all these other things going on, and it took longer than I expected because I wasn't able to go over there and physically work as much as I had anticipated. So I sort of learned, okay, now's the time to start hiring people, and you can still do a little bit if you want, but put your time where your value most is.
Right. Okay, makes sense. I'm sure you've gotten better at it over time, but how do you determine what house you're going to flip? Mm-hmm. And how do you negotiate with sellers?
So I'd say about a third of my houses come from, friends that are realtors and things like that have a client come to them and the house just isn't really suitable to put on the market. So my very first flip that basically happened was, okay, the people were semi-hoarders. They had a lot of trash in the house. They hadn't done any maintenance since they bought the house. So it was in rough shape. So if you have buyers come into that, they're just not, most of them just aren't really interested in something like that.
Right.
And so it'll sit on the market for a while, you'll get a low offer, or the realtor can be like, hey, I've got someone that'll buy it for, this much. Yes, it's under market value, but the house is in rough shape, so they don't have to go through the hassle of all the showings and trying to clean it up and trying to fix things. It helps them offload it quickly. And then another way is through wholesalers. So I've got a couple relationships with people in my area who've been able to grow big wholesale businesses. Two guys I have in mind, I think they have 30 or 40 employees working for them.
Is that the Midwest?
Yep, Midwest cash offer. So okay. I've bought houses from them. So that makes my lead generation a lot easier. I don't really ever buy something off the market to flip. And then knowing when to flip, it's really a numbers thing. I know how much things are going to cost and how long things take, better than just someone first getting into flipping, because A, I've done it, and B, I've physically done the work, so I know, okay, this has to be done, it has to go in this order. So it's really numbers, and then sort of how I feel about the area. I can go street by street and know, okay, this area is a good place to buy versus this area isn't, just because I know my area well, and that really gives me an advantage.
Right. Okay. You mentioned realtors will sometimes bring you deals if the house isn't in good shape to put on the market.
Yep.
How did you build the relationships to the point where they'll bring you deals?
Yeah. So it was a lot of people ask me that question, and it wasn't necessarily me building relationships with them for the purpose of flipping. It was, okay, I have relationships with these people externally and they know that I'm doing it. So just talking about what I'm doing. Everyone knows I flip houses, right? So the realtors that I'm thinking about, one of them has known my family since I was born, right? He knows I want to flip, so he'll help me out because that helps him out. And that's basically sort of how it comes is people talk about that I flip, and sort of word gets around to friends and family friends that, oh, Cam's looking to buy houses. So there's probably 4 or 5 realtors that are in my network from that, and have helped me out because they get their commission if they sell it on the market or sell it to me. So selling to me is usually a lot easier because I can close in a week. Whereas if they put it on the market, it's going to be on the market for probably a month, and then you have to wait for closing and people to get their financing together and inspections and stuff like that, which
it's a whole
takes
nother
time.
month.
Yeah. So me being able to close fast, and I'm doing the inspections myself. I know what to look for. You're not waiting on financing packages and things like that. That really makes them want to work with me because they get their commission faster. Their clients happy because the house is done with faster.
Right. You have your real estate license, is that correct?
I do.
Okay, so after you buy the house, fix it all up, get it ready to put on the market, do you go back to the agent that gave you the deal and let them sell it, or do you use your license and sell it yourself?
So I've done a mix of both. If it's I'm trying to get to the point to where I don't have to physically go to a house while I'm flipping it. I want to buy it, go walk through it, figure out what I need to do, make my game plan, get all my contractors together, and then sell it without having to go to the house every week. I want to be able to, go check on it once a month, have it a really seamless process, because I'm running everywhere right now, back, forth, this house. So I have been listing them under my name, which is fine. And the contracts are pretty simple. It's not like it's super hard, but I'm probably going to start having a realtor do it just so that I can have a person that I know is handling it has their 100% focus, whereas if I list it, I've got a million other things going on. Not that it's not a priority, but they're usually, more, I don't want to say important, but higher stakes items that I have to take care of during a week, and negotiating with a retail client just sort of is a pain. So I think I'm going to get to more just having someone else list it.
Sweet. Okay, just focus on the million other things going on. So
Yep.
let's get into one of those other million things going on. Neptune. So I've seen the software.
Yep.
You asked me to do sales for it before it was
Before it's live.
officially live. Is it live now?
So we've had a lot of problems. We have our front end working and designed, but the problem is back end. And, we're dealing with people's banking information, social security information, things that we really don't want to, we don't want to risk having like a security breach or something like that. And I went to school for informatics and finance, so I know enough programming to do sort of like the front end stuff. Programming isn't really my favorite thing anymore. We have the front end done, and then we've gone through 3 developers. We had one guy who said he could do it. He got it most of the way done, and then we had a sort of an external source look at it, and then within an hour he had broken into it. So we're like, well, that's not good.
Oh.
So we had to get rid of that guy, and then we found someone else that we thought would do it. He was overcommitted. So I've been really frustrated with the amount of time it's taken. I like moving fast, and I sort of feel like I can't do much, especially since we had, 4 people on the team building it, working on it together. It's just, it's been really difficult. So as of recent, we've decided to do a little bit of reorganization to where I think it's going to be 2 of us working on that now. So hopefully we can get a lot more focused and just hire someone good to get that finally fixed and figured out. Because we've had a lot of big clients and LOIs signed. It's just I don't want to risk putting them on there if something's gonna break or something could go wrong.
Right.
Just super bad for reputation, and then all the clients, and it's a big mess. So I don't really have a timeline for that, but with everything I have going on, it's just sort of we're slowly making progress, and I'm happy with a little bit of progress over time.
Sweet. Okay. Your co-founder Elijah, is he back from Europe?
He is back from Europe. He's in LA this summer. So
Sweet. Is he working on Neptune?
Yes, we are just trying to do what we can to get off the ground and get those final nits and gnats fixed, so we can hopefully get launched sometime in the next 6 months. Would be great.
Okay. All right. Okay. Next. You're restructuring a commercial real estate firm, bringing new energy and ideas to an established but traditional company.
Yep.
Is that
It's
what do you mean by that?
So, I met Greg and Greggy and John through a mutual mentor we had. My first job in high school was consulting for a chiropractic office. So Jeff, who was a good mentor, Jeff and Emily are like family to me. He was in New York after he graduated IU for most of his career. He was doing trading, high finance type things. He was really good at what he did. And then he eventually decided to come back to Indiana. And his wife, Emily, started a chiropractic practice, and he did consulting for 4 or 5 different companies, helping them increase revenues and profits and make things more organized and streamlined. And me having sort of the tech and organizational brain that I do, we got connected, and it turned into through the summer, every day I was there in his office working with him, helping, plan the next big thing, work on all the projects, and just helping out his clients where I could. And then it was my sophomore year of college. He was diagnosed with cancer, and then I think it was about 6 weeks later he passed away. So it was very unexpected because, we worked out, at 5 a.m. together every day. He was one of the healthiest guys I knew. So that was very, very hard on me. But through that, I was sort of connected with a lot of people in his network, like Greggy. And so Greg and I would have coffee probably once a month. His office was down here in Bloomington at the time. And junior year summer, he's like, hey, why don't you come hang out with us, do some work, see if we can make something work. So we started after I got back from Bali. So I was working with them for a month, and I was able to help out in a lot of areas. I was learning a lot, so I was really happy. And it ended up turning into, hey, will you work for me through school? So I was up there 3 days a week working, and then I was down here in Bloomington 2 days a week for school, and then now I'm there full time. So
sweet. Okay. What's the name of the commercial real estate firm?
It's Allen Commercial Group.
Allen. That's right. Okay. This last one, were you going to say something?
I guess I didn't really go into what I'm doing there. So, I guess traditionally, they used a traditional model of land development. Buy land, develop it, sell it, make it into neighborhoods or commercial properties, and they're very successful. Millions and millions of dollars and millions of square feet developed. I think they built 3,000 homes. Wow. And their factor is everything is top quality. So their name has a lot of recognition for that because they build the best of the best buildings, the best of the best homes. So sort of where I come in to help is with organization, new tech stack, and new softwares that we're using, making processes more efficient to save us time and save us dollars where we can. And we're rolling out a model now where we bring in outside investors for deals. So we just raised $6.9 million for a land deal. We bought 36 acres off of I-65 in County Line in Greenwood, and we brought in investors for that. And then we've raised another $7 million for an apartment project that we bought that we're going to renovate. So that's sort of what my role is there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So you played a big role in raising that money.
I would say I played a big role in creating the systems and foundations for us to be organized and get those customers through the finish line. I think Greggy was the main one he just knows everyone.
He was doing the sales calls.
So he was sort of sales calls, like get the connections going, get them to say yes, and then they would sort of come to me. I would get all their paperwork signed, make sure they get their money wired in, and keeping track of everything.
Okay.
So.
Sweet. This last one, number 4, is probably the most interesting one and definitely the one that I know the least about.
Okay.
You say, I'm helping relaunch a wealth management company that provides access to private placement real estate deals most investors wouldn't normally be able to access. Mm-hmm. Is this Wealth House?
So it's kind of weird. So Allen Commercial Group is the one offering the private real estate deals, and then Greggy has a separate wealth management firm, completely separate from Allen Commercial Group. And he brought on a partner, so we did a complete rebrand and sort of restructuring so that we are in more of a growth phase of the company, if that makes sense. So we're trying to put the best product out there, because anyone can go to Edward Jones or somewhere like that and get the basic treatment, but we are really taking those quality values from like the commercial side of the business and putting it over in Wealth House so that we can offer the best of the best products, be organized, be efficient, offer services that like traditional wealth managers wouldn't be able to offer, just because of the wealth of knowledge that Greg and Clint have. So we launched, when did we launch? It was December, January. I think it was, end of last year. We ended up, doing our rebrand and launch party. And since then, we've been able to grow significantly, and it's been really rewarding to sort of help build those systems so that the Wealth House team can serve the clients to their best ability without being hindered by, how do we stay organized? How do we track all of these things?
Right. Okay. Is Wealth House a group of financial advisors?
Mm-hmm. So
okay.
we have 3 financial advisors on the team, and then we have two other people on the team who are not licensed. So Avery, she is around my age. She's getting her license to become a wealth advisor, and she is sort of shadowing Greggy and Clint and Angie to learn from them and learn how they run their meetings and help them out, so that once she gets licensed fully, she will be able to sort of have a running start. She's passed her SIE, and now she's studying for either Series 7 or 66, I believe. I don't remember exactly what order it goes in. So we're open to having other advisors come on our team. That just makes us stronger. And we found that other advisors want to join because we have our branding and just sort of we're becoming well known in the area. So that's been very helpful for us.
Right. Okay. So separate from Alan,
Yep.
if I want to put money in Wealth House,
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to be an accredited investor. Is that correct?
Anyone can start investing with Wealth House at any time. I mean, we've got clients who haven't invested at all and want to start an account, so we start a brokerage account for them. And then we've got clients with $10 million who, need to have more advanced estate planning and want to be more particular with what stocks they're in. So we can help anyone from point A to selling their company. So we help a wide variety of people.
Sweet. $10 million. What's the total assets under management?
We were at, I want to say we're at like 60, 65. I haven't checked in a while.
Okay. Because I remember when you launched in December, January,
Mm-hmm.
it was, I think it was like 25.
Yep.
So you have grown substantially.
So we have grown, and that number is just including Greggy and Clint's assets. Now that I think about it, I don't know off the top of my head how much Angie's managing, so that number could be more. But we've definitely grown and had a lot of happy clients and done a lot of good planning for people. So I'm happy with where we're at with it.
Sweet. So what does the monetization look like for Wealth House,
Mm-hmm.
for a financial advisor?
Yep. So it really depends on what you need, right? If you're wanting a really detailed, in-depth financial analysis of all of your assets and your stocks, and you want to bring everything together under one roof, then we can build a financial plan for you. And there's like different plans, I guess, if you will. Right? If you just have a house and stocks and typical normal family, then it's less than if we're doing a financial analysis for that. Plus you have multiple companies. Plus you have these estate taxes you're trying to figure out how to be most efficient with. So if we're doing just financial planning, then there's just a fixed fee for that. And then asset management, we just charge a very small percentage on the amount of assets that we manage. and it's basically sort of like a tax scale but in reverse. So the more money you have with us, the less fee we charge. And then our fees are very competitive compared to other places that you can go. So
What are
it's sort
those
of
percentages?
a win-win. It's 1% and less, I believe. Last time I was looking at the scale.
A lot better than a freaking hedge fund.
Yeah.
Charging 2 and 20.
Exactly. So the more
Yeah.
money you have, the more that percent goes down.
Right. And then even mutual funds on Wall Street, it's common to have 1%, no matter how much you put in. But that's the first time I've heard of it going down the more money you put in.
Yep.
But it completely makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, if we've got a really big account and we're charging 1% on it versus a smaller account we're charging 1% on, I'm not saying that the big account doesn't get more work, but when we're picking the stocks, we sort of build our portfolio descriptions based off of risk level. So it's not a crazy amount more work if it's a bigger account, but usually with bigger accounts it comes more complicated things like businesses, estate planning type things. So that sort of helps us get our clients the best deal they can.
Right. But also, like, 0.5% of 100 million is still a whole lot bigger than 1% of 1 million.
Exactly.
Okay. I want to get back into just a little bit of flipping houses, because I think it's freaking sick that you flip houses. And
Thank you.
tried wholesaling for a little bit.
It's tough.
I had prices agreed upon and contracts sent, and I never got them signed and sent back.
That sucks.
But
It's a lot of cold outreach too. It's
right.
I've
If
thought
I
about
remember,
it.
well, haven't you wholesaled a house before?
I've done a few that you could technically classify as wholesale.
Okay.
But that wasn't my original intention. It was just, hey, I stumbled upon this great deal. I have my money already tied up. I can't buy it, so I'll add a little bit of fee to it and sell it to someone else who flips.
Okay. Sweet.
But I've thought about doing all the cold outreach stuff to do it, but it's a lot, and I'm not. Cold outreach is one of my least favorite things. So it's a lot of phone calls and bugging people and following up. So
How do the Midwest cash offer guys do it?
I don't know their process exactly, but any wholesaling company is, all right, you pick an area, you look at the houses that need work, right? Drive through the area, figure out, okay, this one needs work, and there's other strategies too, like, okay, this house is an estate, so someone's gonna probably sell it, so that's another strategy. But
Say that again. This house is
like someone passed away, right? And
in a state.
Yeah.
Okay. I see.
So if someone passes away, and usually the kids don't want to have to deal with putting on the market stuff, so a wholesaler might be a better option for them because they can close really quickly.
Right.
But it's a lot of cold calling and following up, and for a single family house, it's not really worth it. For commercial real estate, more so worth it because it's just higher ticket. But for a $100,000 house, I don't want to spend 10 hours trying to get them to say yes to negotiating with me, and spend another 10 hours negotiating. It's just not financially worth it.
What do you think like wholesale fee on a typical house is?
It depends on the area for sure. I think usually what I've seen is in Indiana, central Indiana at least, it's between $30,000 and $50,000 markup.
30 and 50,000.
Yeah.
Well, if I take 10 hours to make someone say yes to that, I would say that's worth 50 grand.
It's worth it. It's just not something I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And everything else I do, I really enjoy and I'm excited about. And if it's not something I enjoy or excited about, I figure out how to hire someone to do it, or get myself not doing it. So I just figured that wasn't the right game for me to get into.
Fair enough. 30-50 grand sounds really freaking high,
And
especially on a single family house, because that's what,
yeah,
like a 10-15% markup.
it is.
Depending on initial price.
And when people first start out wholesaling, it's typically less than that. But like once you're experienced and really know what you're doing, then you can negotiate the price down from the seller. You get better at that. So that's how they get that wider margin, because I know how much I need to put into it to get it sellable and how much profit I want to make. So it's just sort of like backing it into the number for me. And they sort of know, okay, Cam's going to have to put this much money in it to fix it so we can mark it up to this price.
Find the ARV.
Yeah, exactly.
So, man, let me know when Neptune goes live.
Okay.
And maybe I'll get back on the phones for that.
I'll let you know.
'Cause I don't mind cold outreach as much. But
maybe I'm just not good at it. I just maybe I need to put some more time in learning how to get better at it.
It can be kind of painful if you're
it's,
sitting there for hours.
yeah.
No, stop calling.
Yep. All
Like,
the no's.
Yeah.
Get degrading, and then you get like, I didn't get any yeses today. So it's definitely hard, but it's worth it if you're good at it.
Yeah. The monetization for Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like?
So it's based off of the number of units you have on the platform. So we haven't landed on a specific number yet, but if you have, it's sort of similar to the wealth house fee structure. Like the more units you have, the less we charge you per unit.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we have a client with 10 units, it's a pain to onboard them and get their system set up and give them support. Whereas if it's a big company and they have 20,000 units, then they're gonna pick it up a lot faster, and it's a lot more worth it for us to onboard them and have them use it.
Do you think the competitors do a similar thing?
There's not really a good direct competitor. I mean, there's Appfolio, but Appfolio tries to do everything in the park, and they don't do any of it well. A lot of people disagree with me on that, but
Their market share would disagree.
Their market share would disagree, but it's because the people using it don't know any better.
Okay.
A property manager doesn't know what good, efficient software looks like, and I have that unique perspective of the real estate and the informatics and the finance, whereas property manager only has the real estate background. So I've been in Appfolio, I've used it, I know how the features work, I know big companies that use it, and the big companies that I've talked to have complaints about it. They're like, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks.
Okay.
So there's definitely a lot of room for improvement. But a company like Appfolio versus Entrada have very different pricing models. Entrada, I think, is just like a subscription fee, versus Appfolio charges different ranges for different units, kind of like we do, or we're planning to do. So there's not a direct apples to apples comparison, because we're not going to try and do everything like Appfolio does, because then you can't be good at what you do. But yeah.
Very interesting. What do you mean Entrada just charges a subscription fee? Like, if I have 10,000 units, I only have to get one subscription?
Yeah, so I think there's a million different ones I've looked into, so I could be wrong on the name. I know Entrada is one, but I don't remember all their pricing models exactly. So Entrada, I believe, is more for smaller companies in that lesser unit range. So, paying X dollars per month just makes more sense for them than paying per unit. So Entrada is sort of like the starter software that a lot of people use.
Okay. So when you asked me to do sales for Live, I remember looking up like monetization structures of other companies.
Yep.
And the only numbers that I saw were monetization structures exactly the same as what Neptune was at the time. $5 per unit per month.
Yep.
And Appfolio, my apartment building uses Appfolio, and then the people behind the desk use Entrata.
Really?
But it's kind of interesting because the property manager is called like Asset Living.
Okay.
They have 2 million units total. But it's like this weird, like if I wanted to sell Neptune to my apartment building, I wouldn't go to the owner of the property.
No.
Because the owner of the property
They don't
hires Asset Living, and then they, like, it's
hard to figure out who the key players are that you need to go to.
And it's hard to get in contact with them.
It is.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something we're trying to navigate, and just trying to talk to people and make those right connections, because like the property manager that you see at the desk isn't going to have any say in what software they use, or really probably even care.
Right.
But the property owner doesn't want to hear from anyone. That's why they hired property management companies, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you're trying to get in charge of whoever manages the software and stuff at that property management company.
Yeah.
Which, if it's a big enough company, they'll have a dedicated person. But if not, then it's probably just, hey, Bob, figure this out. You know how to use a computer. Pick a software. So it's really trying to pitch them on the efficiency and reduced people not paying. Just since we have that more in-depth data than the other service providers can get, just pitching that and showing how beneficial it can be to them.
Right. And you were so right that a lot of people don't like there are a lot of problems with property management softwares. Like the people that work at the front desk of my apartment building, they do not like using Entrata and Appfolio.
Yeah. And
so
there's a lot of companies out there that use multiple softwares, and these softwares don't link together. It's like, okay, we use this software to collect rent, and this one to do maintenance requests, and this one to do this. And they do all these different softwares because they pick the best pieces. So in talking to them, the biggest pain point is the application process. I mean, a lot of people still do it on paper, and if they don't do it on paper, then it's not mobile friendly, not easy to apply, not quick, takes too much time. So that's why we're trying to tackle that problem first, and then from there we'll move into more of the property management pieces. Like something like maintenance tickets is easy to do, but we want to make sure we get everything the best it can be before we put it live.
Right. Remind me the name of the score that you guys give to tenants. What's the name of that?
We toyed different names. I think we landed on Tune Score, something like that. It's basically
what score?
Tune Score, like Neptune.
Tune?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's funny. What was it before?
I honestly don't remember. We've had a bunch of different names.
Okay.
Yeah. It's basically like a more advanced credit score, I'd say, because we pull in I think it's 24 months of banking history. We pull in pay stubs. We pull in very detailed background history reports. We pull in data from other property managers, which, credit score is good, but you don't have all that in-depth details that we have access to.
Right. And you were telling me about a feature where property management can adjust their priorities. Like one property manager might care a lot about a tenant smoking weed, and another property manager might not care at all. So
Exactly.
they can see
So that's part of our onboarding process. Is we sort of, I don't want to say interview, but we figure out what their priorities are and what is most important to them. And it's really important to have it specialized too, because in different areas, there's different rules, different laws, different things to take into account account for in a college town versus a city. So that's why we decided to have it prioritized. You can change the weightings of different factors.
Okay. Right. And no other property management software is doing that. Is that correct?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Differentiator.
Exactly.
USP. But I gotta ask, because your schedule, it sounds insane. You're working on a property management software, you're restructuring a commercial real estate firm, and you're flipping houses.
Yep.
And you're working at a wealth management company.
I am.
What percent of time goes into each bucket?
So, I guess just the easiest way to walk is to walk through my schedule. So, I get up usually around 4:30 or 5 a.m. every day.
Hustler.
Got to get up early. I prefer getting my workouts in first thing in the morning. So I do my meditation and journaling type things first thing I wake up with my coffee, and then I go to wherever I'm going to go to work out, and then I try to get into the office by 7:30, depending on how long the workout is. I like getting in early because that allows me some deep focus time. Once everyone's in the office, there's a lot of distractions, and hey, can you help me with this? What do I do here? How do I do this? So those deep focus hours in the morning are definitely helpful for me to get the more the projects that need more intense focus done. And then I really try to front load my weeks. So Mondays is our meeting day per se. So we've got our all hands meeting for Wealth House, all hands meeting for home building, all hands meeting for commercial group, so that we can all get in sync and know what we needed to get done for the week. And then from there it sort of shifts week by week what I'm most focused on. I usually focus on commercial, Wealth House, and homes through the typical quote-unquote work day, and then afterwards I'm going to check on my properties and making sure everybody has the supplies they need and all the contractors are getting their parts done. And then by the time I get home, it's usually 9:30 most nights, and then from there I'm ready to go to bed.
So you're working until like 9:30.
Yeah.
And you wake up at 4:30.
Yeah. It's
entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart.
It's not, but I love it. If I'm doing something I don't like, I try to get rid of it as soon as I can. So
makes sense. If it doesn't serve you, let it go.
Yes, absolutely.
So we've got this tradition on the podcast where the last guest asks the next guest a question.
Mm-hmm.
So the question for you: what are the top things that make you successful and keep you in a good work ethic?
I think the most important thing for me is routine and just staying grounded, which was really, really hard when I was bouncing all the business stuff and the school and commuting 8 to 10 hours a week from Bloomington to Indianapolis. Just my time schedule was so short, and I was just go, trying to get some sleep and then do it again the next day. So I sort of lost some of those basic things that keep me grounded. Like for me, I try not to use my phone first thing in the morning, and I do some meditation and reading and journaling, so that I'm centered. I know what I'm trying to get done that day, which is really helpful. And then I try to work out, at least once a day, and I usually do that with friends, or make it sort of like not a meeting, but I try to rotate through the different groups of people so that I get to see my friends and we're being productive at the same time, and that really helps me relax. So I guess just having your routines in place and knowing what you need to do so that you can stay the most focused.
Okay, makes sense. So what is the question that you would like to ask the next guest? And it might be Mark Cuban.
It might be Mark
It might be
Cuban.
Mark Cuban.
Wow. Oh, that's tough. I want to know what the hardest part in their entrepreneurship journey has been. I feel like we always highlight the good parts, but never talk about like the struggles and like, oh my gosh, the hard moments. So I think that'd be a cool question to ask is, what's the hardest part of your entrepreneurship journey been, and how have you got yourself out of it and back into the good parts?
Okay. That's a good question. Well, Cam, thank you so much for coming on the Founders Fireside podcast. Really appreciate you spending your time.
Appreciate you for having me, Jasper.